All right. Good morning, Chad. How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
Good, good. I'm Edward Robinson, founder, president, and CEO of the Kern County Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Tell me a little bit about your service and how you got here to your solar business, but also Comrades and Canopies.
Got medically retired out of the Army for traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress in 2014 after my third deployment to Afghanistan.
Oh man, thanks for your service, brother.
Yeah, thank you for yours, man. Um, Immediately came to work at Wounded Heroes Fund as a work study where I got into, I ran their podcast, Overwatch podcast with a few local combat vets. And that was a lot of fun. That got me into radio where I was pretty much producing and co-hosting a couple pretty well listened to talk radio shows here in Bakersfield. And one day I get a call from, we'd have open lines Fridays and listeners would call in about whatever. And this guy said, "Hey, I want to take you skydiving. You're airborne in the military. Let me get you back out of an airplane." And we'd get a lot of callers they'd call with a lot of random opinions and stuff. So we didn't really take a lot of calls like that serious. He kept calling for like a month, man. Every Friday, this guy would call. And one day, I was leaving the studio on a Friday, and he was outside the studio. And he was a legit Vietnam veteran, licensed skydiver with like 5,000 skydives. And he got me to go out there where I ended up getting my license. And him and I, with a couple other combat vets, created Comrades and Canopies. And that was in 2017. As of today, we've taken over 320 local veterans on tandem skydives. The
Nice.
oldest, the oldest being 99 years old. We took that gentleman back in 2019. He was a World War II vet. We've taken 18-year-olds right out of basic training. We've every conflict from World War II to present day, we've taken veterans out of airplanes, and it's been very rewarding as both an organization and myself, just getting to see veterans who are coming back with maybe post-traumatic stress, or maybe they're just having a bad go at life, and you take them out of an airplane, the adrenaline kicks in and you get to see them smile. They can't help it,
Yeah.
it's a natural reaction. So we love it. We love what we do. Since COVID, it's been rough, man. It's been, I would honestly say at this point, we haven't recovered since COVID. We were doing amazing prior to 2020. We were bringing in 15, $20,000 a year in donations, sending up veterans almost every weekend, getting a couple guys licensed like us. And since COVID, it just, we have not been able to get on our feet. So we're definitely on fumes. I'm out there skydiving with a couple of my board members and teammates. We're staying active, and it keeps me sober. It keeps me, focused on a healthy outlet. And that's just what we're all about, man. I mean, we're pretty well known in town among the veteran community. I think every other organization in town has sent somebody to jump with us. Honor Flight, Portrait of a Warrior Art Gallery, which I'm also a part of. Uh, Wounded Heroes Fund, Lean for Vets, Armed Force Writers Foundation. Name an organization in town, we've sent them on a skydive or one of their team, or somebody. So I loved it, man. That's what I do. I love being out of an airplane. It's exhilarating. And after a week of running my business, and when the stress gets high, nothing like exiting an airplane and getting that release. When it comes to my business, during the time of COVID, I was working as a wind turbine technician, graduated from Airstreams Renewables up in Tehachapi, was
Mhm.
traveling the country as a wind turbine tech. And the traveling was hard with little babies at home and my wife, just giving birth. So I chose to come home and jump over to solar, where I was a solar installer. And that led me into cleaning panels on the weekends and ultimately creating my business. It's been a roller coaster for sure. Running a business is not for the faint of heart. I would honestly say after 13 and a half years in the infantry, running a business is harder. You know, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the infantry ground pounding and doing the grunt work as an infantryman, that was easy. That was fun. That came natural. Running a business is tough, and nobody really ever taught me. So I'm just, I for the past 5 years, I just been kind of going about it as best I can, and definitely made some mistakes as I've come along, and with the economy being what it is right now, the first thing to go when people are, clenching their wallets and trying to save money are services, right? So we took a hit this year, pretty big, especially on the residential side. The larger jobs we do, commercial and ag, those have kind of fallen by the wayside, either because uh, they're trying to save money as well, or maybe the energy companies which built their solar systems are providing that service now too. So, and
Right.
some large sites are going with these automated sprinkler systems. So, we took a hit this year, and where I find myself right now, both with my business and the nonprofit, is kind of struggling on what the future is for both. And my business right now, we're shut down obviously due to the weather. It always stops around this time of year,
Yeah.
but going into this next year and the economy not really showing too many signs of getting better, it's tough to see what the future is. You know what I mean? When it comes to Comrades and Canopies, we're on fumes. I think right now it's our name that's keeping us alive, our determination to keep going. I'll never accept defeat, right? I mean that's part of the warrior ethos. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I'll never accept that Comrades and Canopies is dead or gone or a thing of the past. We're gonna keep this alive as long as we can, doing what we can because it's important that, like so many other local veteran organizations, that we stay here. We've affected a lot of lives. I mean,
Yeah.
our board consists of 7 members, 5 of whom are licensed skydivers who use this sport, and that's what it is. Skydiving's a sport
Yeah.
to just keep going in life, man. I mean, maybe they don't jump all the time, but when they're in town or when they're home from work, it's an outlet, and it's better than going and wasting money at the bar or drinking in your garage or whatever.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Or just
Yeah.
moping around and feeling bad for yourself. So I want to keep Comrades and Canopies alive. We got 37 veterans. I looked after talking to you last night. I looked at the manifest log. I've got 37 veterans that are signed up who
Nice.
most probably just figured at this point they're not going to go, but I have their name and contact, and I know just by contacting them, I can at least get 30 back on that list. You know what I mean? Maybe some
Mhm.
don't want to do it anymore. Maybe some moved. I don't know, but we have 37 local veterans that have signed up, and we've never had to tell vets, "Sorry, we can't do this," and I don't want to start. So
Okay.
that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I family man. I got wife, got kids, and like I said, I'm sober. uh, Trying to just stay active, man, and not let the world bring me down.
I feel you. And first, I'm honored by your presence, honored that you're here today. And I'm going to keep this brief and real. I saw you at the gas station. Based on our conversation, I played it back when I got home, and I remember the look on your face when you were sitting in the car and you told me what you were just thinking about and talking about. I know things are heavy right now with the solar business and also trying to keep that nonprofit afloat. And I also, I remember the comments on Facebook, man, and it made me realize that we had our differences, but I'm infantry too, so we the same. And honestly, I would respond to a cat like me too, the same way you did. The reality is you an infantry vet though, and I'm an infantry vet. So you and I both know that when we downrange, it don't matter if we argue back at the barracks, when the rounds start flying, we gonna cover each other's sectors. So, the way I conceptually see things is that right now, you in a firefight. And like you said, you keeping your mission alive. And, Comrades and Canopies is really saving lives. You said you got 37 vets, but the stats for suicide rates for us are 57% higher than for civilians. So skydiving, that can really help reset the nervous system for guys dealing with PTSD. And so, the KCVCC, Kern County Veterans Chamber of Commerce, this ain't no country club, man. We trying to the goal here is to build capacity for guys like you, so you don't gotta, fold the flag. So, like I sent you in that text, there's a grant that's due on the 19th. Did you get a chance to look at it?
Yeah, I looked it over
Okay.
last night.
Yep, it's called let me pull it, the Trust for Public Land Activation Grant. And it's really designed to activate outdoor spaces and for mental health and community connections. So, I had my team look over the guidelines, and I think you fit the criteria for a $25,000 park activation grant. So I've prepared the proposal for you. I've put together the narrative. I've justified the budget, and I aligned it with their specific park equity goals. And I'm gonna hand it to you. I'm gonna email you this with full instructions. I'm not submitting it for you. um, you know, you need to take point on the execution. But what I've done essentially, in terms of, I know you understand, is I've loaded the magazine and all you got to do is aim and squeeze the trigger. You know what I'm saying?
Too easy.
Yeah. So, we're going to walk through this application real quick just so you can kind of wrap your mind around how I was thinking. And then from there, we're going to make it happen.
Outstanding, man. Right
Yep,
on.
you just get it submitted at your convenience. Let me pull this up.
Now I got to include in that like W-9 mission statement, all that.
No, that may be the case. I pretty much included. I took the whole application, and everything that I'm giving you is what you should put into the application. So
Oh,
when
got
it
it.
asks for your those numbers and things, that's where you're gonna fill it in, right?
Okay.
So, like I said, I think you're eligible for 25,000 with the Central Valley Park Access and Activation Grant category. And you're gonna start out section one, that's your basic information. Name of your organization is Comrades and Canopies. Organization type, CBO for community-based organization with 501(c)(3) status. And the name that I came up, you feel free to change it. But Operation Blue Sky, activating open spaces for veteran reintegration, because ultimately you're helping these vets cope and transition.
Yeah.
A short summary, they make you do 55 words or less. Comrades and Canopies will activate the open space recreational grounds at Skydive San Joaquin to provide therapeutic skydiving experiences for Kern County veterans suffering from PTSD. This program utilizes outdoor recreation to reduce isolation, foster peer support networks, and improve mental health well-being for a marginalized population, aka vets, that struggle with traditional clinical settings. So you notice that there are there's some specific language here about veterans suffering from PTSD, and then traditional clinical settings. This would arguably be the same. We're trying to frame this as an alternative for mental health, or another resource to maintaining your mental health. And so this is a nice way to potentially get the attention of other funders who may be with other health systems, or maybe VA or something like that, right? But that's way down the line. I just want you to understand the thought process.
Okay.
Now, this project aligns with the goal to activate parks through programming and recreation activities and support public health, especially mental well-being. Comrades and Canopies utilizes the San Joaquin drop zone as a venue for nature-based therapy. That is the specific verbiage that you can arguably use, nature-based therapy, because of the experience, but also because it's outdoors. Now, this is just some of the, you can read this. You feel free to adjust what you like, but I drew on my social work experience. I also gave you a little bit about the population and strategy that you're trying to recruit. Ultimately, you're trying to give this recreational activity um, rather than a clinical appointment. So bypassing the stigma that because a person's dealing with PTSD, something's wrong with them, you're kind of meeting a veteran where they are. I would, of course, support you through recruiting efforts, sharing your posts, things like that. So you're kind of giving them a little bit of the strategic overlay of how you're going to sustain a program like this. I mean, you're going to be promoting it yourself, but this is precisely why I exist, is so that you can be successful and I can build this platform and kind of get it out on your behalf. So, I mean, just think of me as like freaking, I don't know, supply, you know.
Okay.
So here's the equity needs. This is the other stuff you're just going to check on the application. And this is a tentative work plan that you can feel free to adjust. But if the funding's allocated, in February 2026, you would initiate the launch of your campaign. You would identify 50 at-risk veterans. So we're talking about your impact right here. And this is just the identification portion. You're already majority of the way there because you have 37 signed up. So you would just follow up with them by the end of February. March 2026, you're going to be hosting them to August. You're going to be hosting them jump days. And the events include ground training, tandem jumps, structured post-jump peer debriefing circles on the airfield ground. Then 2026, think of it almost like a unit reunion barbecue at the airfield, right? That really just builds that camaraderie, and network that we're also used to in the military. Of course, you got to deliver all this by August 30, 2026. So the tracking of self-reporting of PTSD. So I can help you with creation of an effective survey, satisfaction survey where people talk about their experience, and then you even put the questions in there where a person discloses how they feel after. So they call it a time series analysis. You start with one survey, that's A, and they do this in research, but that's the measurement point A. And then you're measuring for a certain time period. And then you give another survey at the end and you measure from that time period. And then you compare the responses on the survey in segment A and segment B. And that's a time series analysis because you're analyzing how those responses changed over time. So if a person came in and they said, I feel like I'm failing at life, I'm struggling, my PTSD is terrible, I can't make it. And then 3 months later, after they take the survey and they're going through your program, they say, I'm better. I love life. I can do it. That's what you're looking for. That's how you aggregate that data and show effectiveness. And then you justify yourself for more funding in the future.
Okay.
So then I researched a little bit about your background. Feel free to add things about your specific expertise, but this is pretty general. I kept everything kind of like safe. I didn't want to be too wordy. And then some outcomes measurements, and then right here is your budget. So you're the subject matter expert here. Jump tickets and instructor fees, I allocated 18,000. And then direct cost for instructors, plane fuel, jump slots for 60 veterans at a discounted nonprofit rate. I figured it's $300 a jump. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So yeah, I think you said 240. Then
Yeah. Well, we usually give them like a video and then like a shirt, so it comes about 300.
okay, so that's fair. Equipment and supplies, 5,000, but that 5,000 is really so just to be clear, that 300 a jump is allocated and the instructor fees is included in the 18,000. And so
Okay.
that's how I did it. I did the bold black for the overarching line item and then the justification in the clear bullet point. And so just so you can articulate this to if you have any colleagues that are your partners or whatever. Because like I
Okay.
said, it's due on the 19th. But then you got the equipment and supplies, 5,000. And like I said, I'm not the subject matter expert. Feel free to adjust what's necessary. But the rental of specialized parachutes, harnesses, safety gear, hydration, nutrition for participants during outdoor events. Does that sound realistic? That cost that
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we provide lunch and especially in the summertime, we got water, Gatorade, stuff like that.
Perfect, perfect. And then expenses, marketing and outreach. This includes like the promo if you want to boost something on social media or get an ad to reach rural areas of Kern County and make that impact. Then ultimately, that's where that 2000 would go. And then, of course, by August 30, 26, you're going to have completed uh, those 50 funded jumps and the surveys and measure the stress levels, social. So that is the deliverable. You see what I mean? That's the mission. And you do you think that that's realistic for you and your time frame? And
Yeah, we could do that for sure.
Roger that. Okay. Let me get your email. What email you want me to send this to? I'm gonna send it in like the next 10 minutes.
It's Chad at squaredawaysolar.com. Yep.
SQUAREDAWAYSOLAR.com. All right. All right, Mr. Garcia. You got any questions for me?
No, sir. I really appreciate that. It's really well put together, man. I wasn't really expecting all that. That's good stuff.
Yes, sir. Hey, I'm honored to be able to be here to support you. And if you have any questions at any time, you got my number, right?
Yes, sir.
Feel free to hit me up, man, or just text me. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow at about 11:15 at the jump location. It'll be my
Yeah,
first
yeah.
time. I wasn't airborne, man. I was on the line, so
Are
I
you gonna
got my
want to try and get a
EID.
you gonna want to try and get one in?
Yeah, I'll try to get one in. Maybe me and my wife, and but not on Saturday. But I will be
Yeah,
trying to get one.
yeah. We'll be out there, man. I'll see you tomorrow.
Roger that, man. See you tomorrow.
All right. Take care.
Yep.
We good to hang up now?